Coming up in OTH, Raymond and I talk about changes in patch 11.16, the skins that come with that, League of Legends content, and all pro teams before discussing the matches that came from the LCS Championship playoffs and what's to come. We hope you enjoyed this episode of On the Hunt. Welcome everybody to episode 25 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host Chris, aka the Glizzy Gulper.
Oh my gosh.
I love hot dogs, dude. I can't deny it. It's just I legitimately like to eat hot dogs, and I'll eat multiple, one after another, and
That's fair.
I'll gulp all of them. I'm the Glizzy Gladiator, some might say.
You just like what's your favorite hot dog, dude? What's your go-to?
I mean, everything is good. I kind of like. There's like hot dogs that are like made out of like. Well, I mean, all beef hot dogs are good. I've always wanted to go to like a baseball game just to have a hot dog from there.
You've never
And then
been to a baseball game?
no, sir. And then I guess I like hot dogs that have like cheese in them, if you've ever had that sort of thing. And then
Okay.
hot links are always good if that kind of falls in the same category.
Yeah. I
Anyways,
wasn't sure if
oh,
you're
go
gonna
ahead.
go like all the way into like, I'm like a bratwurst guy, or like
Oh
you go to
no,
like get German sausages, you call those hot dogs or something. I respect
no,
that though.
but I would love to enter a competition and see how much I can do, how much I could gulp.
Dude, okay, real quick, we're already here on hot dogs. Low key, like one of the best hot dogs I remember having was at LCS. Like no joke. I remember going there once and they had like it was like a banh mi hot dog kind of, like where it
Uh huh.
was like the banh mi like pork kind of that made the hot dog, and then it had like jalapenos and other stuff on it. It was pretty good. That
Oh,
was
that's
kind of
really
a banger.
interesting. Now, can I ask, how long did you have to wait for that?
It was like in between one of the games, so just like 2 hours. You know,
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
no, I
I
mean,
I imagine it
I
would be a
I think
long
it
wait.
was actually not that long. I mean, the LCS studio is cannot fit that many people, so even with everybody in line, it doesn't take that long.
Oh, okay. And joining me on this episode is our other co-host, Raymond. What's going on, man?
Man, not much. It's going good. Just chilling, just chilling. Just talking
Any
about hot
updates on
dogs.
the? Yeah, just another day. Any
Yeah.
updates on the scent, the taste and smell?
I'm pretty much back to normal, man. Like it's kind of wild. I don't know. I was very surprised to not have all my smell and taste like gone forever. I was like half expecting that it would be like a month or two of me just being miserable, but it only took like a week and I was back to eating like normal.
Okay, now here's
Feels
the
good,
real
man.
question: Do you appreciate your taste and smell more, or you're just like, that shit will come back?
Um, I think definitely the first few days I definitely appreciated my taste more. I appreciate just like the fact that I don't not have taste, you know? The smell I feel like I didn't really notice as much, but yeah, the taste is a big one. The taste is rough.
Yeah, that does suck. I feel like if you had to like ditch one of your senses, you could probably just get rid of smell, and you would live just fine.
Yeah, it's like only the only issue is like its side effects on taste, since like that's like a part of it, like the mental breakdown or whatever. Like that's where I would have the struggle, but I agree with you otherwise. If it's all by itself, yeah, I don't need to smell shit.
Okay, we can get started with this episode with patch 11.16 notes, which were a patch kind of delayed for a while since Riot takes a break in the middle of the year sometimes. And so we kind of went over the preview a while ago. Just a quick recap: we have nerfs to Diana, Fiora, Lee Sin, Lulu, Tahm Kench, Xin Zhao, and Ziggs. And then also buffs to Jarvan, Jin, Maokai, Nunu, Shaco, Sivir, and Vladimir. And then just some changes to Karma and Sona. I'll cover the Sona changes real quick. She has pretty much a new passive. Every time she casts a basic ability, it gives her ability haste. And then after she gets a certain amount from her passive, then it just starts reducing her ultimate's cooldown as well. by 1.5 seconds. So, and then they also reduced her mana costs because they took away some sort of like mana refund mechanic from her. And so, I don't know if this will ever make a difference. Whether or not, I'm pretty sure Seraphine will still be a better version of what she tries to do, but I'm sure she'll be fun to play every once in a while.
Yeah, we'll see. Loki, I liked the version of Sona when you would get to build like full AP on her. Like it was, I mean, I'm remembering the one where you would go like this weird ass like hodgepodge build of like the gold income items, and then you'd get just like a sheen, and then I don't even remember. It was like you'd do that, and so you'd have like the support item like Sightstone or whatever, or I don't know, and then you'd have just a sheen, and then you'd go like the Kirchi shard, like the that would build into Static Shiv, not the Zeal part of Static Shiv, and
Yeah,
then it would just be you just were trying to play for you'd spend your first 3,000 gold on just doing the most like sheen proc damage at like 7 minutes in. It was fucking weird, but it was kind of funny, and I feel like late game Sona when you have like 500 AP is pretty fun too, but we'll
I
see.
kind of miss Static Shiv. Do you ever have you been thinking about it lately?
Yeah, I thought about it some. Definitely. I feel like that was one of the. It's kind of a sad collateral damage of the item update. You know, feels like it could have had a place.
Even if it doesn't have a place, not like every item has a place. And then secondly, it was just kind of fun every once in a while.
Yeah, true, 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 true.
Um, any of these changes stand out to you from that you see or you can remember? I remember
Um,
we talked about the Lee Sin one and the Jin as well.
yeah, I think Jin and Sivir is the other big one, and those are two of my favorite ADCs. So like glad to see both of those getting some love. I'm still surprised at the Sivir thing, dude. I legitimately think that's gonna make her like pick rate rise a lot. At least probably in pro. I don't know if in solo queue or whatever, but that's like not an insignificant amount of damage for a late game Sivir.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for Worlds to come around to see if that ever happens.
Yeah,
And then also with this patch, we're getting a couple new skins as well. We're getting Old God, Malphite, and Warwick, and then also Coven, Evelyn, Cassiopeia, Ari, and Ash. I think the Ari splash art looks freaking sick, dude. Um,
dude,
but other than that, I
honestly,
can't.
all the Coven skins are pretty legit. I like them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them in game.
Yeah, a lot of really good skins. Even the old Coven skins are like ballers. So I like that they continued the skin line.
Yeah, and they of course they come with a million chromas as well, so they always gotta find their way to make the year after year returns on their investment
True.
in the art department. Okay, and then we could just try to jump through some content really quick. I think I watched like TSM Legends this past weekend. I
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
watched Summoning Insight from yesterday, and then I think I tried to watch an interview with Vizichachi for fun, but I got bored like halfway through. And then other than that, oh, you know what? I think I did end up watching Next Level, the latest one
Oh yeah.
with Azael and Solo and one more person I can't remember. And I and Contracts I think,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
was interesting. I kind of liked it. Other than that, that's it for me. What about you, man?
Yeah, dude. This last week I was actually pretty busy. I didn't even have that much time to watch LCS itself this weekend, and then I was pretty swamped with just busy doing work stuff last week. So I didn't catch that much stuff. I think I watched TSM Legends, but that's just part of my usual Friday routine at this point. So um, yeah, nothing much for me on that front.
Okay, pretty sweet. And then before we talk all of this LCS stuff, we can do some quick picks of the week.
Sheesh. All right, you go first. I gotta ruminate on mine real quick.
Okay. Um, hmm. Let me just click through the good old match history really quick because I don't have one either. Let's see. Well, continuing on from my series of ARAM picks of the week, this week I'm gonna pick Jace. I'm pretty sure I have like an 80+% win rate on Jace and ARAM, just because I'm the EQ, the canon EQ god. Honestly,
Yeah.
um, I hit a good amount of them,
Okay.
and especially late game. And I'm just pretty good about like knowing when to actually go hammer and go in, or playing like a bitch most of the time, which is what I do to be fair. But um, I'm pretty sure like I ended up buying like the Battle Academia Jace just because like I wanted a better skin on him because I was just winning all the time. Um, and then I bought all the chromas as well with blue essence, so it feels good, man. So that's gonna be my pick of the week. Is if you know if you see Jace in the in your re-roll section, just snag him right on up and try to win the game.
Damn, I respect that, dude. I'm actually a big fan of Jason Abrams too. I think I don't know. I feel like I play like way better with Jason Abrams than I actually do in real games. Um, like I
Oh
try and
yeah,
do
I
I
feel
try
like
and do
the
like the
shy.
hardcore yeah like I always get the auto W resets. You get the four autos real quick, and I'm like spacing like moving in between them. I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking sick, guys. I'm 1v9ing this game for sure. And then I'll like int a lot of games too. But yeah, he's tons of fun.
Yeah, just don't be me and don't take Ultimate Hunter because it's fucking useless.
Yeah, no
But
shit.
but other than that, he's pretty flexible with the runes as well. You could take like you could mess around with Dark Harvest. You could take Phase Rush if you're trying to try hard. So there's a lot of things you can mess around with.
Okay, okay. Respect. All right, I'll give you my pick of the week. And honestly, I did go to my match history. I legit played two games this last week of ARAM, so like it didn't even matter. Instead, I'm gonna give my pick of the week as an honorary Baus FFS pick of the week, and I'm gonna pick Lissandra. Uh, I'm sure you've already picked Lissandra because you're kind of like a Lissandra guy.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
but we'll bring her
So,
back into the mix. It seems she's like a pretty fun champ to watch. I don't know. It's like one of those champs where if you don't have a pretty good understanding of like how much damage you do and like how to use your cooldowns and stuff like that, it can be really useless. But like when you see a good Lissandra that just like zones and actually plays off her cooldowns, you know, like you don't knows when to go in. Same kind of thing like you're saying with Jace. Like it's she has a strong kit, and especially if you get the passive resets, you know, you actually do a surprising amount of damage if you get like a multiple passive procs off in fights. But yeah, it's a I feel like it's a really satisfying champ to see like utilized well and chain CC with. Just yeah, those are fun things to do.
nice, dude. Yeah, I've been rocking Lissandra since like season 3, so
Heck
pretty
yeah.
proud.
Was
You
she
can go
actually out
onto
in season
my
3?
yeah, you can go into my
Holy fuck.
OPGG and you can see I had a really good win rate in Twisted Tree Line, so it's a little inflated. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, I really liked to play her in threes back in the day, and then I played her a lot in like season 5, 6 as well. I think that's actually why I wanted to play mid when we played together, is because at that time I happened to play like a lot of Lissandra, and I thought
Yeah.
I was the shit.
Damn, dude. All right. All right. I like that you used your you inflated your stats with threes as well back in the day. I think I
Oh
have
yeah, you had to.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think I had one season where I had like um my only ranked game with Hecarim was like I had like 20 kills and it was in a threes and I was just like, yes, now this is on my stats is like 100% win rate. Giga OP Chad Hecarim player.
Yeah, I think there was a game in like season 6 or 7 where like I played Xin Zhao jungle in Summoner's Rift, but I remember that game I didn't take Smite and we won that game, and I was like, holy shit, I'm never playing another game ever again of Xin Zhao, so that this can be on my record, and I'll remember that was the game I didn't take Smite and we still won.
Damn, dude. Actually, I remember I have like the opposite story of that is one game I remember being ADC in like solo queue just like I mean it must have been like season 4, season 5 and I was lined up to play ADC and this our jungler, our top laner asked me to pick Xin Zhao. And then they don't swap with me, like they went AFK after the time, you know, after everybody locked, and I couldn't swap with them. They just didn't accept the trade, and so I went into top lane as Xin Zhao with heal, and I like one of my buddies like was watching it. I don't know. I don't remember if I was streaming or if he like just spectated and just like afterwards like roasted me. And he still does like every once in a while. He's like, "Hey, remember heels and Zhao?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." It was a bad game. The bad times. Bad times.
Damn. All right, moving on from those bad times, dude. We can talk about some LCS
Yes.
2021. First, that came out. Before we talk about the games, we could talk about LCS All Pro. And first thing interesting is that for first team All Pro, we've got Cloud9 Fudge, TSM Spica, Evil
Speaker.
Geniuses Jizuke, 100 Thieves or 100 Thieves FBI, and Team Liquid Core JJ. With some interesting point distributions actually for some of these, we could talk about that for a bit. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure this is the first time that First Bro has had 5 players from 5 different teams. We
Yeah, I
could give
think I saw
this a
that
little
too.
bit of a talk for a bit. Yeah. I think one thing I noticed here is that for All Pro, the mid for the difference between first and second place is really close. We've got Jizuke who won at 104 points, and then also Abadage just 2 points behind at 102. So I found that really interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's a good I feel like that's a good balance or like that's a good race between those two for sure. I think they were the top probably like the top performing like individual players out of the mid lane obviously. Um but they both had like a pretty big impact on their team. I think also 100 Thieves having a lot of questions at the end of last split, like not a great showing in playoffs, and then bringing in Abadage and looking really good for a majority of the split. They still finished tied for first in terms of like outright record, right? Or at least summer record. So they looked really good this split, and I think a lot of that was on the back of Abadage, even though Jizuke edged him out. Same thing goes for EG. Like they had a big turnaround. They ended up with the same record as 100 Thieves, right, in the summer, and then Jizuki was obviously a big part of that, and he's been garnering a lot of MVP support too. So I'm not surprised to see him pull out the first team All Pro.
Yeah, definitely close between those two. And then another spot that I see is a little bit close is um, Fudge in the top lane won by 9 points over Impact, who had 96 points, and then the third place spot is like not really that close. So I'm pretty surprised. Well, not surprised actually. I'm pretty content with these 2 players being at the top of the votes here, and then I'm not mad that Fudge ends up winning it out, and I'm pretty happy for his performance throughout the summer split so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that front too. I mean, Fudge is I think it's cool to see the top five be 5 different players, right? Players from 5 different teams. Um, but I think it's also always cool to see like the one person who's like Fudge is the top resident or in first team All Pro. He doesn't have another teammate until the third team, and I think like that's pretty cool to see like somebody have like that much of a standout from even like their other teammates when All Pro can easily be like, oh, this team just looked really good, like it's TSM, it's 100 Thieves, like they're top of the bracket, so they obviously have All Pro teammates. So it's cool to see Fudge make a standout from a team that like had a lot of shaky points throughout the split.
Yeah, and then I'll just call out second team All Pro because it's kind of like honorable mentions. But third team I'm just gonna ignore. So second team was EG Impact, 100 Thieves Closer, 100 Thieves Abadage, Evil Geniuses Danny, and then 100 Thieves Huhi. I also think just pretty good runner ups for the kind of spots here. Another close spot was support, but it doesn't look like there was a lot of hype for support this split. And then Core JJ and Huhi, it just kind of seems like who else were we going to give it to kind of
Right.
thing. Or at least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, this one is definitely weird. I think I'm like surprised that Core won it. I
Yeah,
mean,
me too.
talk about points. Like this is like by far the lowest point total for a first team player. Like Core had 67 points, where everybody else on first team had over 100. So I'm sure like if we even saw like further down third team, I'm sure like we would have had like Aframu up there as a top four. I don't know. There's probably other supports that could have garnered some points for this, but I don't even remember who else is out there. Sword Art probably is up there too. Sword Art and Afro, just like even just having two, like they probably would have been close in this running, just outside of the top three. So it is really weird though that Core is the one that pulled away. I felt like this was one of his like worst splits that he's had since he's come back to TL.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Kind of
And then
just
they also announced. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say kind of just like you know Core JJ has just been talked about for so long about being obviously just a god gamer, like best support in an A kind of player. But yeah, definitely I don't think this was like the split to show him off.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It was not a good split for Team Liquid. And then also this weekend they also announced coaching staff of the split, which went to Evil Geniuses, and the head coach over there is Peter Dunn, I believe. And then also just I guess the supporting cast. I think there's other people there like who support their like amateur endeavors. I think Kelsey Moser is there now. I'm not too sure who else is on Evil Geniuses with regards to their coaching staff though.
I think they also have like Artemis, who was there. I think he's been at EG for a little bit. I think he was on Clutch Gaming back when they made it to Worlds. And then they have like Don't Mash Me, I think, as a assistant or
Oh
analyst.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they've got a decent squad of coaching. Definitely like fleshed out in terms of player support.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Other than that, not much to say about that.
Yeah, but I definitely think that was kind of I'd go with EG as my staff of the split. Just the kind of turnaround and like obvious like improvements that they made as a team, I think is pretty big.
Yeah, if anything, it would have been a toss up. I probably would have given it to 100 Thieves actually, just the way that they exploded onto the summer split with their new coach hire Reapered. I probably would have given my vote there if I had to choose, kind of blindly, so to speak. Okay, and then we did have two matches from this past Saturday and Sunday. We can kind of get started with Saturday's games of Evil Geniuses versus Dignitas, where EG pulled out 3-1. Not much to talk about. It kind of went, the series kind of went as expected with just a loose game dropped by EG. I believe in game three, or game two. Um, so it kind of gave the excitement of like, oh, one team wins one game and then they lose the next. But then like really the outcome was pretty much what you expected the whole time of EG just kind of running over Dignitas, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I only caught a couple of games. I think I saw game two, and so definitely you have that idea like, oh wow, Dig is actually pulling off a game. But yeah, it was EG kind of wiped the floor with them after that. I think I was still impressed with how Dig played. Like, I don't think anybody thought they had a lot of a chance. I bet probably people predicted 3-0s a lot of the time in that matchup. Um, Except maybe Parth was worried about, the Dig upset. But yeah, I think it was cool to see them play, still like trying out some stuff. I liked them pulling out like the Diana Yasuo and Gragas Yasuo combos. Like those are interesting, and I feel like good like just styles to try and play with, especially when you're the underdog. You go for just some outright like on paper powerful combos that don't
Yeah.
necessarily require you to be like super better a lot of the time. Like those are fun to watch, and like it's one of those like, oh, if I'm gonna play solo queue, I'm gonna pick that as a duo. Like that's a cool combo, but you don't always see it in pro because that's just not the meta all the time.
Yeah, I think they blind picked Yasuo twice, and so yeah, it's kind of like what you're saying, just like kind of believe in yourself, and this is what you're good at, so let's give it a try and let's give it a go.
Yeah, and I mean it's a little disappointing that they put that burden on Yasui to play the Yasuo. I feel like obviously we saw in week 9 where Arcadian was on the Yasuo at mid. I think they actually won that game against TSM. So I don't know. Maybe they should have tried some role swaps because he was trying his heart out in the jungle on the Gragas and Diana picks, but just didn't work out for them in the end.
Yeah, true that. And then the more exciting series that I think turned out to be actually really well was C9 versus TL on the Sunday's match, where TL did win 3-1. But I felt like this was actually a pretty awesome series to watch. Where every game that TL won, I was just super impressed with the way that they dominated both game one and two, and then they also solidly secured Game four, well, no, let me take that back. Game four was actually really back and forth, which made it kind of exciting. But TL did have a strong early game, if I do remember that correctly. And so I'm really surprised with TL being able to come out as the underdogs, in my opinion, for this matchup, because I would think that a lot of more people would have predicted C9 going into this match, especially with TL's kind of decline as the split had gone on and Santorian only recently coming back in. And so I was really happy to see like this is the kind of performance you were expecting from this roster now that they've got the whole crew back, the one that they used in the spring split.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly, this series, I wasn't able to catch much of it live. I was pretty busy on Sunday, but I I watched like the recap, the co-stream recap from WC Tube and stuff like that. It was really surprising, I think, to see how well TL played in this series, especially like even after like these teams just played last week, and we saw them. It was TL looking like almost like lost. It was sad to see them like not be able to convert on what was like a really dominant like early game kind of like they picked up a lot of stuff reactionary. Jensen had like 8 kills or whatever, but they just couldn't turn that into a win. And it felt like going into the playoff series, it was like, well, if TL can't even win that game, then how are they going to win, 3 games against C9? But yeah, I mean, like you said, they really looked decisive. They looked strong in the early game. They, yeah, they closed things out pretty well. I don't know. It was an all around like really strong, like cohesive performance from TL, which is what you want to see when you're now in the playoffs. But I think everybody probably expected it would take a little bit of time with TL, like they'd want the losers bracket run or something. But I guess they don't need it.
Yeah, they really flipped the bracket on its head, and then we could talk about what's coming up in next week's games now. Starting on Thursday, we've got IMT versus Dignitas. On Friday's games, we've got Golden Guardians versus C9. And then on Saturday, we'll have Evil Geniuses versus 100 Thieves and TL versus TSM. We can go ahead and get started with the Thursday and Friday games of IMT versus Dignitas. I think it could be kind of a fun match to watch. It might be, but it could also be a snooze fest. So we'll see if IMT can come out swinging. Actually, you know what? Considering that I don't think they took part in the spring playoffs, I'll give them a chance for like this playoffs to see if they can show off if they can have a chance against Dignitas here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably it's probably the closest matchup of the weekend. Well, I don't know if that's even true, but I mean, it's definitely the closer matchup between the two lower bracket ones. It'll be. I think it's a pretty good chance for IMT, but I think Dignitas didn't look like really that bad. Obviously, they were outmatched in the EG series, but I think they're still a team that like has pretty good individual skill and like even like team coordination when they've got Acadian and Afromu like firing on the same cylinders and all that. And it's it's probably going to come down to a bit of a like solo lane difference would be my guess. I think I'd probably favor Insanity and Revenge over Fake God and Yusui right now, but we'll see how it goes. I think I bet it would be exciting based on how Dig was trying to play this weekend. I doubt it'll be like super snooze fest unless IMT is just drafting Ziggs every game and trying to do their late game like base race stuff that kind of bit them in the regular season.
Yeah, for sure. And then I also agree that out of the Thursday and Friday games, this game is or this match is going to be the closest of the two.
Well, it
So yeah, I get
should be. It should be.
yeah, true, true. Yeah, so Friday's game we've got Golden Guardians versus C9. I would probably just give it to C9 here to take out the series win, but I am interested to see Golden Guardians get a fair playoffs shot with the best of five series with their shiny new top laner Licorice. We'll see if they can have any preparation going into this week.
Yeah, I think I mean we've seen a Blaze Olive pick up, like the Tom Kench stuff in the recent weeks. I wouldn't be surprised to see them have something spicy prepped in mid, and I think it was obvious like that mid lane was exploitable for C9. I don't know. This weekend made me a lot lower. I think last week I warned about C9 looking potentially bad for this playoffs. I didn't think it would be like as bad as it might have seemed from them losing against TL. But I wouldn't be surprised that Golden Guardians finds, like the same exploitable weaknesses uh, against them in the series this week. So I still would put money on C9, but there's probably value in taking the underdog of Golden Guardians this week too.
Yeah, and if anything, I wonder if Golden Guardians could just make C9 feel more stressed for the rest of the playoffs because their C9 is practically going to have to make a really long run if they want to try to make Worlds this year.
Yeah, and this is like not a matchup that like this, even if you're C9, you still feel like this is something you're supposed to win. And if it's even like the slightest bit hard for them, I would, you still feel stressed going into like the next matchup too against whoever you face coming out of the upper bracket.
Yeah, I would think so too. And then yeah, in the upper bracket, to segue into that, I think we've got four really tough teams who could all really give it a go for the world's contention or the championship. I mean, and so on Saturday's game we have EG versus 100 Thieves, and and on top of that, for also with Sunday's game is TL versus TSM, and both of those matches are practically fighting for a world spot actually because with the way that the bracket works is that um, if you win the match on the Saturday or the Sunday game, I believe you qualify for worlds automatically because after that, the lowest that you could possibly place is third place.
Yeah.
If I am to understand that correctly, and
Yeah, I think
so
you're right.
yeah, after the Saturday and Sunday match, we're gonna have. I guess they won't be locked in, but practically it will narrow down the number of the teams that are eligible for a top three finish.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely lock in two of our world's contenders at least. That's for sure. We'll know come Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, 100 Thieves versus EG. I think that's going to be an exciting match with EG coming hot off the press of the summer split and then right into their first best of five series. They seemed like they're really hot and they seem to be burning on all cylinders with Impact playing really well, Jizuke playing really well. I don't really care much for their jungler, but I really like the way that Ignore and Danny have been playing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Even we didn't even see their starting jungler. Really, it was contracts all of the series against Dignitas. So
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if that's, if you say like, oh, they look pretty good, but the jungler wasn't that great, and it's like, well, that's their backup. So who knows? I don't know how much their style changes when they bring in Svenskeren or what. If we'll see even like some mid-series swaps out of them, depending on what they want to play. We'll see on that, but it should be exciting. I think. Yeah, I think I'm still rooting for EG in this matchup. I think they've looked super hot. 100 Thieves has been on pretty much a downward trend for like the second half of the split. Even though I don't know, they still have a decent record, but it doesn't feel like they're as good as they once were. So I would probably give the edge to EG here most of the games.
Yeah, even narratively, I feel like both of these teams have got some good and bad things against them. I would say like I would actually say that this 100 Thieves squad, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of choked the playoffs out. Especially kind of considering how their spring split playoffs run went, although they had a different mid laner at that time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason like someday has a bad playoffs performance in this match series for some just odd reason, or who he can't get a solid presence out on the map at key moments of the game versus Ignar at least. And so I think top to bottom, all of the lanes look really solid across for both teams, and then we'll just have to see who shows up on that day. And yeah, I agree with you. We'll see if they. I wouldn't be surprised if they start the series off with contracts, and then we'll see if they substitute in Svenskeren moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad plan. Yeah, I don't know. Contracts is. I wonder if like teams. I don't even know that there's that much of a difference between what they would play, but we'll see. I mean, I don't even know what they played like this week, but I mean, contracts obviously had like pop up performances in the regular season on like Nidalee and Diana, but I don't know that you'd like draw Nidalee bans just by putting him in.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of thinking about it. It's kind of weird where like even when Svenskeren was on C9, this kind of happened to him as well, where he was the starter, but then for some reason the team kept playing the substitute over him at the start of a match, and then like maybe he would come in after, and so after a loss, and I wonder if he has a say in these kind of like substitutes as well as like let's put him in, and then we know what I'm going to do when I do go in, and I'll know how to change it up or something like that. I wonder if that's something that he's offering to the team by being on it. Of like, hey, we can have increased flexibility or game plan because we have two junglers. I know how I've had experience playing with the second jungler on the roster, and so we can utilize that really well if we really wanted to.
Yeah, I bet probably they do. It seems like to me from what I've heard about like Peter Dunn and how a lot of how they've worked with Jizuke this split, it sounds like he's pretty player focused, like takes heavily into account player opinions on that kind of stuff. So I'd be surprised if it was a like unilateral decision without Sven being involved. So hopefully he's got some of that some of that pre experience, that he does bring to that situation.
Anything else you want to say about EG versus 100 Thieves?
No, I think I'm good on that front.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match on Saturday. And then lastly, on Sunday, we have TL versus TSM, which is going to be the first seed versus the fifth seed, if I've got that correct. And so I think I actually think this is going to be an exciting match as well. TSM got the bye, so we didn't see them last weekend. But I don't know if you can really call them the favorites here with the way that TL just kind of had their way with C9, with coming out hot and strong in their match series. And so I don't know if I think if I recall correctly, TL did have a couple of like crutch picks, so to speak. I don't know that they pulled out Ziggs for tactical and that he was just kind of like solo farming for two of the games.
Yeah,
And Core JJ just kind of like left him for most of the game. I think I heard a statistic where like in one of the games, um, one of the supports had like a 0.6% proximity to their bot laner. So like literally like they stood next to him at the start of the game and then didn't
right.
see
And then
him for
just
the rest of the
skip.
game. Something like that.
Yeah, I
It's
think
pretty
that was
crazy
probably
how
that game four with the Shen support, right? He was just
I
all
believe
over. It
so.
seemed like it
Yeah.
was a
He just like
perma skirmish in mid lane for like from minute three onwards.
yeah, he just like didn't see him. But then like if something does happen to tactical, he's Shen. So like it kind of works out in the end. I don't know, like I'm pretty sure his level 6 must have been giga delayed, but
Yeah,
it's just kind of funny the way that that works out. And so, yeah, he's been doing this like heavy roam style, and that's actually something that Sword Art kind of struggled with when he first came here in the spring split. So I think it could be an interesting matchup with seeing if some of the TL players come back into form and seeing if all of the TSM players have the meta on their side with regards to champion picks and being able to play to their strengths as well. So um, I honestly don't know how TSM is going to come out swinging in this series.
yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see. I think that's it's the blessing of being the first seed to have the week one bye, but at the same time, you get that you don't get to play like on stage in this current meta. You've obviously scrimmed, teams. I'm sure they're not like in the dark about what's going on, but yeah, like you said, I think even the TLC9 series did kind of have its own weird like sub meta with like those Ziggs picks and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if TSM hasn't seen exactly that. I think it was kind of a surprise that TL had that strategy going in as like their primary like draft focus, I feel like. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if TSM can kind of match it. As for like the support roaming stuff, I feel like I don't know. That almost seems like it's up Sword Art's alley, right? To just be like wherever the fuck else on the map, like after level three. Maybe not like permanently, but it seems like he goes for those rooms a lot. So if him and Core are both going for it, it'll be fun to watch, I think. But I don't know, like looking at the regular season, right? Like across both splits, so ignoring the kind of route that was in the playoffs between their last playoff series with Armeo subbing in and all that. TSM has won every single regular season matchup against TL this season. So it's hard to say still. I mean, TL looked so different in their series last weekend than I'm sure, most teams have seen from them all year long. So I don't know. I don't know what we'll get this week. It's definitely, I think, the most intriguing series in terms of how the playoffs will turn out.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, top to bottom, I don't even know if there's even any big strengths coming out from one team or another. I would probably actually take Alfari over Huni going into next weekend, but then even in the jungle, I would say they could be evenly matched. Mid lane, I would say they're evenly matched, although we'll see how Jensen performs. Um, Bottom lanes, I would say evenly matched after last weekend. I might give the edge to TSM's bot lane, but yeah, I'm really excited to see this match. And then if I had to bet on somebody, ooh, I feel like it would just be really tough. I feel like it's pretty blind 50-50. I'll just go with TSM here. Given that, like you said, they've had a pretty solid summer showing, and like you said, TL did not do good against the top four teams throughout the whole summer split. And
Yeah,
that's probably due to roster issues, but then again, like they had some pretty bad losses throughout the split.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a toss up. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it was even kind of surprising to see Santorin playing like a lot of Sejuani duty last week. I'd like to think that Spica would have an answer against Sejuani stuff. It felt like there were some plays in the C9 series where Blabber, I don't know, they didn't respect Santorin like being there, like, or like that they thought they could win 2v2s like no matter what, like they were just kind of disrespecting enemy jungle pressure or presence.
Yeah, Perks was not having a good series. I don't
Yeah,
think.
but I feel like that won't happen to Spica. Like I think he probably takes those, but he knows that the juggler's there, right? Like that's like taken into account. I feel like the way that C9 played those mid 2v2s was like they they just thought like, oh, there's no way that he could be here. Like we have to win it or something. I don't know. Like I might be bullshitting that, but I feel like the TSM 2v2 is probably more level-headed about that and might not tilt and randomly in Sejuani early, or like Leeson early. Like there were some weird skirmishes that came out of TL that I feel like only like this weird C9 team style. I don't know if you even call it a style. It's just they've had some hiccups throughout the split that I think played into it, especially in that last series. So I don't know. I don't know that TSM gives them as many of the freebies. Without remorse. I think it'll be interesting to see for sure. That's all I'll say. But I think yeah, I probably give the edge to TSM just because I don't know if TL, I don't know if that's a lightning strikes twice kind of situation for TL to be that good again, or if it's just a weird coincidence of C9 underperforming plus TL obviously fixing a lot of their mistakes after regular season.
Yeah, and this I'm in agreement for you on the series thing, and then just kind of off topic, I just suddenly remembered that they are canceling the in-person finals that was going to take place at the Prudential Center, I believe it was called, in like New Jersey or something like that, and
Hmm.
so it's just going to take place at the LCS studios in person, but yeah, they're refunding all the people who bought finals tickets and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that definitely sucked. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, it's just COVID, man. It's
Yeah.
so weird with these things. Like, you have to plan it ahead of time, right? And you can only like make the plans based on what things are like then, and then now when COVID changes and stuff gets worse, what are you supposed to do? I mean, like they have to cancel it. But yeah, sucks. Sorry, New Jersey. Maybe people just really didn't want to go to New Jersey and they made an excuse.
Yeah, they just made COVID 2 years in advance. Right, games. You you want to end it on a sad note there?
I mean, I don't know. What else you got?
No, I got nothing. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine with me. We can end it. We can end it on a sad note. A little sad.
Okay, well the LCS Championship playoffs returns this Thursday, probably 3 p.m. PST, and we'll see you then.
Yeah, looking forward to it, buddy. Catch you on the. Oh, it's Thursday, right? Did we say Thursday? Or did you say
Yeah,
Friday? You
Thursday.
said Thursday. Okay. Yeah, Thursday, Friday. All right.
Okay, and that's going to be it for episode 25 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you are listening to us on if you haven't already subscribed. We'd appreciate it if you also give us a rating or hit the like button to show us some support. You can find us on YouTube as well as your podcast player of choice, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify and so forth. We'll see you on next week for another episode of FTX on the Hunt.
FTX on the hunt.
No, I wish though.